This is Coffee with Creators, and we are going international. We've got Chris Killian, aka CK Comedy, fellow comic book nerd. Does a lot of stuff with pop culture, and we have crossed the seven seas. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the map the other way around, we might be just one sea apart. But either way, we've gone across borders, and I am just gonna call Chris in. This is literally the first time I am going to be talking to him outside of Insta DMs. Hey Chris, wow, you look sleepy. Did I really make you
Hey, what's
super?
up?
How are you? You look tired.
I'm good, man. How are you doing? How are you?
Across borders, this is happening for the first time ever. We've got someone all the way from America. Where exactly are you, Chris?
I am in Nashville, Tennessee. And
Okay,
so
far.
we're like we're we are what? Well, like 12 or 13 hours apart, I think, time zone wise.
Yeah,
So it's what time is it right there?
it's 7:35 p.m.
7:35 p.m. Okay, it's 9 a.m. here. I'm actually on my third cup of coffee right now.
And I'm on
Uh,
my second.
I'm on my third, man. This is early to try to get my brain working. So here we are.
You saw the third episode of Loki. I did see that too right now. I mean, pop culture does unite us across borders. Without going into spoiler territory, what do you think of it?
I love Loki so far. The whole show I think is fantastic. I think it's probably the best Marvel show so far. Like
Mm-hmm.
I thought WandaVision was very unique and was cool in the way that they did everything. It was something different. And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier felt very it felt more like a Marvel thing to me,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like classic Marvel. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that Loki just almost feels like Loki feels just like big budget. I really like what they're doing with Loki, and it's kind of a good mixture of the two. It's very unique and but also classic Marvel at the same time.
And the first episode got us in the feels a bit.
Yeah, it did. I did say I missed for this episode that we just watched. I did
Mm-hmm.
miss Mobius quite a bit. He's not in the
Yeah.
episode at all. I don't think that's too
Yeah.
spoilerish, but
Not at all. Not at all.
yeah.
But I'm
So, but
guessing he's what we
I
need.
did miss him.
Yeah, Owen Wilson brings a nice little touch to the Marvel universe, which I think has been missing a little bit. But okay, not, I mean, we'll go into spoilers if we continue down this path. So, in interest of everyone who's still not seen Loki, let's come back to life. I saw you on Instagram with Daily Distraction and Comic Book. You started somewhere before the first wave of COVID hit us, right? Um,
Yeah, I've been doing a daily show for comic book for about 4 years now. So yeah, it's been a long process, man. But it was like it started as like this morning show that we called the Get Up that like we would do. I had to wake up at like 3 in the morning every day to like write the show, and then we would put it out at like 8 a.m. And I did that for like 8 straight months. It was just brutal. I hated it. So then I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so then they wanted to bring it back uh, for um, for like every other day. They were like, you don't have to do it every day. We'll just do like every other day. And I was like, okay. And then and I still hated that. So and then I started realizing that we have a huge audience all over the world. I mean, there's people in India and Asia and just Brazil, all sorts of places, right, that would watch the show. And I was like, well, it's not morning for them, so it doesn't really matter when we post it. Like, why don't we just call it daily something and just do the show that way? And at the time, Trump was the president, and that was awful. I hated it. So I was just so sick of political news. I just wanted to I was like, I just want to be like a distraction from all of this crap that's going on. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to have silly news, like stuff that, just comic book movies and horror movies and comic books and wrestling and whatever I like that's just not serious. And so that's kind of where the Daily Distraction name came from. And
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing it for a long time. Like we're in episode, I think today's going to be episode like 407 or something like that. So we've been doing it for a minute. And it really just it seemed to take off over COVID. That really was, hey, what's up, Jeff Jenkins? Yeah, it seemed to really kind of kick off there.
And in what, I mean, how are you affiliated with comicbook.com? Are you like a temporary, like, are you a freelancer? Are you a permanent employee? Are you just a host?
No, I'm an employee, man. I'm a full-on employee. I started as a freelancer with them, and then what's up, Comic Book Exchange? Sorry, I'm saying hi to people in the
Go
comments.
for it. I'm
Uh,
surprised they're even awake at the start, like watching
I know,
us.
right? These bunch of early birds on here. So how long have you been doing this show, this Coffees with Creators?
It started when the second wave of COVID hit us in India really bad because we weren't very prepared. Or rather, we were prepared because in the first wave we were very disciplined. We used to stay home and everything was fine. And as the safety measures got relaxed a bit, we started going full throttle on the outside. And as a result, there were a lot of people dying, a lot of emergencies. And in general, the mood became extremely grim with a lot of followers reaching out to big creators or influencers, as you might call them, and asking for medical support, oxygen, ventilators, beds. And that's all influencers were posting over here in our country when it happened a few months back. And that kind of put us in a spot. At least I felt like I was kind of cornered into a spot because I didn't know what was right to post and not to post. Because is it being insensitive, or am I supposed to continue entertaining because people need a slight relief or a distraction? So in that confusion, I was like, I'm sure I'm not the only one wondering things like that. I mean, there were still dancing reels happening, and there was still like transitions happening, but at the same time, you would go through people's stories and you would be going through requirements for medical emergencies. So I was like, okay, I might not be the only one who's thinking these things. So let me just go out there, reach out to friends, fellow creators, and interview them and ask them what their state of mind is. And I got a lot of answers. They got a lot of answers. A lot of them did start creating again. A lot of them who had stopped because a lot of people don't go live on Instagram a lot anymore because Reels is the thing that's doing your algorithm ticking right now. And when they were live, they could speak to the followers, and the followers were like, please, we are missing your content, make content. So a lot of them started making reels again, a lot of them started making videos again. And slowly now it has transitioned into a show where my state of mind is a lot better. I don't feel wrong about putting out content, but I am enjoying this little level of socialization because we're still stuck at home. There are no clubs and pubs and stuff open. So it's giving me a chance to talk to people. I mean, come on, I didn't think this would be happening. So I continued the show and I'm planning to continue it for, I don't know, till like work picks up or maybe I don't get the time or it doesn't feel right. I mean, I have massive ADD and I can't concentrate on one thing for a while. So if it gets boring, I'm out.
Oh,
So
same,
then,
man. Same,
yeah.
all the way. I can't keep my attention on anything for too long. So you guys are still in quarantine right now?
We have semi opened up, but people are obviously like people have to get to work, and a lot of people are going to work. A lot of daily wages people are out there. So there is already predictions for a third wave coming in. Vaccinations drives have been going on, but we don't know how it's going to be. Slowly, restaurants are open till 4 p.m., not on weekends yet. Gradually, things might start opening up again if the third wave hits or when it hits, and if it gets worse, we'll be back at home. But for
Yeah.
now, we are fine. I mean, it's
Okay.
monsoon in Bombay right now, and we have some excellent monsoon treks around because there's like ghats and mountains all around us. So we might just start, I mean, that nature might be our next escape away. But how's it over there for you?
It's getting better. I mean, obviously we have the vaccine and everything, so so that's a plus. but
Mm-hmm.
it seems to be on a downward track. I don't think it's as good. Maybe it's also not in the media as much as it was. So I
Right.
think it doesn't feel as heavy as it did. You know, I know numbers are going down. They're not gone yet, but no. To what you were talking about a little bit earlier with just having this, like, doing this content during COVID. I mean, I think that was the whole thing that kind of changed everything for me, at least, was that, like, when I was doing Distraction, like, the show itself, like, everything was getting shut down, right? Movies,
Right.
TV shows, everything was shutting down. And I had been at a point in my career where I was like, why am I doing this daily internet show that, like, as soon as I do it, the next day it's worthless. Like, you know, I just felt like I was maybe wasting my time. And, and then when COVID happened, I started getting all these messages from people telling me that, like, they found my show and that it was the only thing that they watched every day that was, like, consistent in their lives, and gave them something to look forward to. And then in that regard, I started feeling very like, oh wow, well, I'm not doing anything of value in the sense of, like, the medical community, or I'm not a doctor or nurse, or putting my life on the line in that way. But it felt very rewarding to know that people were taking what I was doing and feeling like a sense of, like, it was keeping them, you know, mentally stable a little bit, and that helped, you know, that helped me a lot as well. So that's been it's been a very eye-opening, rewarding experience this past year. And now, you know, I'm getting to talk to people like you all the way across the ocean, who I never would have got to talk to before.
Yeah, I mean, Daily Distraction kept me sane for a while as well, because everything from DC fandom and like all the like Marvel going completely quiet in the first wave and DC trying to like buck up at that point of time. It kind of, so I, as a content creator, was not a very independent content creator. I was driven by branded content. Like brands would give me content to make and I would make that. So I never really needed to make my own content. And when the lockdown hit and all the jobs stopped coming in, my Instagram was kind of blank for a while. And um, I always was interested in video games, movies, and all of the pop culture. And that's where I started Geek Out Weekly, looking at your show, which was a weekly update of all the stuff that was happening across Hollywood, across comic books, across video games, across tech, because that stuff kept flowing. And doing that, I mean, I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you're a one-person team, but I was a single-person team who used to script that over the week, shoot it, edit it, and put it out every Monday. I couldn't do it daily. It was just not my cup of tea. That got me back on my feet, at least till the point where the first wave ended and I started getting work again. And kind of was my lesson to keep making content irrespective of whether a brand is on board or not. So thank you and cheers to you for that one, and comic book for that. So that, and I like the Betty Boop mug, that's cute.
Oh,
But
that's it's my girlfriend's, actually. It was the first clean mug that I grabbed this morning.
it's very appropriate. I've got Thanos' armor here.
What have you got on yours?
Thanos' armor?
Nice. Oh,
Just
Thanos'
kidding.
armor. Yeah, 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 yeah. The black face threw it off for me for a second. I was like, I couldn't
Yeah,
tell who it was.
you
I
couldn't
see
tell
it
what
now.
it
I
is.
see
Yeah,
it.
but I'm gonna ask you, did you like Endgame?
Yeah, I liked Endgame. I think Infinity War is like a better movie overall.
Definitely.
But Endgame had some nice moments to it for sure. And I like the time travel aspect of it, even though, you know, it's kind it you know, there's some plot holes there, but
Massive,
but
massive
yeah,
plot.
but otherwise it's a lot of fun. I like
Uh-huh.
Endgame, sure.
Nice. And you did so daily distractions evolved quite a bit. I saw you even in the like I mean it's a chroma shoot. So you started in your underground bunker, and then as and then as time evolved, you went into space, and then you started doing cosplays before every this thing. That's a lot of effort, Chris. And how do you manage to gear yourself up for that?
Oh God, dude, I don't sleep at all. I just don't sleep. That's the secret. No, yeah,
And
it's
you're a
nice.
father.
It's really, I just wanted the show to be like fun in a way that like other, there's so many outlets that are similar to comicbook.com. I mean, you have, I can name a ton of them, and they all, all of them do the same thing, right? And
Right.
I just feel very like, I also had to do that same sort of thing, but I wanted to just do it in a way that felt more appealing to me and was a little bit more fun. And when COVID happened, I mean, the underground bunker was a joke that
I
we were
know.
gonna, I remember we were at the office and they were like, okay, so there's this COVID disease going around. We're just gonna send you guys home for like the weekend. And so, we thought it was gonna be like 4 days, and and so I told my editor, I was like, I think it'd be really funny if I just did the show from my underground bunker for like 2 days or whatever. And he was like, yeah, that'd be great. Let's do that. So we do the underground bunker gag, and then it just like, but then, come Friday, they're like, oh, actually, we're gonna take 2 weeks off instead. And so we were like, okay, so I guess we're in the underground bunker for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks became 2 months, and then it was like, holy crap, we don't know when we're ever gonna go back. So so then it got just like depressing, it being in an underground bunker, like reminding everybody every day. I was like, I got to get out of this bunker, and so that's when we got the idea to build a spaceship and go up to space, and we're in space now, indefinitely. I know I want to do it like, I've made jokes about how I'd like to go from space to like some sort of like, I want to fly through a black hole and go Army of Darkness style. Maybe for like October, I'll do the show from like a haunted mansion on another planet or something. I don't know. My space computer voice that I talk to just becomes like Castle Ghost or something. Who knows? I don't. There's any number of possibilities. But yeah, I just like the show to be fun. And as far as the cosplay stuff goes, that's another aspect that I thought, I've always liked dressing up and being goofy, and I love Saturday Night Live. I grew up watching Saturday Night Live and watching like Mike Myers and Adam Sandler and all those, Will Ferrell, all those guys, and so as a comedian, there's a part of me that felt like there's like cosplay that's not being tapped into, especially from like outlets like comicbook.com. And so I decided that I just was like, well, I'll just dress up. My girlfriend, she's got a hobby as being a makeup artist, and so she does a lot of really cool makeup. And so, so anything that I can build cheaply, I will just, and it'll take all day. It'll take all day to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll just try to like, I'll film it, and on the week, I'll take the weekends to film these intros and outros, and then slap them up on there. And I don't know, you've been watching, so you remember when I had the saxophone intro, right?
Yeah, that was for the
Yes.
longest time. I loved
Yeah,
it.
I had the saxophone thing, but I got sick of the saxophone, and I just felt like if I'm getting sick of the saxophone, then everybody else has to be getting sick of the saxophone. And so I just kind of thought, well, you can't really get sick of an intro that you don't see every day. So I just wanted to have this revolving door of intros, and it kind of becomes like a little lottery thing where you never know which one's going to pop up. And I just feel like that adds like an extra layer to the show that, nobody else is doing.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, no one is doing it for sure. And your little rivalry with Brandon, Team BD versus Team CK. How is that? I haven't seen much of that anymore. What's happening on that front?
Well, the rivalry ended because I won. That's why. That's Brandon knows that he can't do a daily show like I do. He knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it. So I won. No, Brandon's great. Me and Brandon get along actually pretty well. And but I feel like when I call him like my frenemy, I think that's true, because I think we're both very like we're competitive. And so I think we do try to I think we use each other to try to top each other
One
and
up
stuff
each
like
other.
that. And yeah, absolutely. And I think there is a friendly rivalry there. And now that things are opening up, I still want to wrestle. I used to, and a lot of people don't know this about myself, but right out of high school, I trained to be a professional wrestler. And I actually,
What?
I know there's videos out there, and I and so I actually want to wrestle Brandon. That's one of his like lifelong dreams is to get in a wrestling ring. So I want to just like I just want to hit that mother with a just want to hit him with a steel chair. Just want to nail him. I'm gonna get him in there and just just beat the shit out of him.
And you said this is like episode number 400 and something now for
Yeah.
Daily Distraction. How have you managed to not get bored of it and be like, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore?
Man, it's tough, man. It's tough doing the same thing every day and keeping it fresh. I mean, I think that's part of like the evolving of the show, from going from like a bunker to, I had a puppet for a little while that was like a
Yeah.
little version of myself that I would have on the show. And, and that's part of it is just the just trying to keep it creative enough that I can like find something to look forward to do it. The intros and outros are helping a lot with that for me right now, where it's like, it gives me something creative to do where I can keep like, doing the show. And I do feel like sometimes, there will be a piece of news that it's like, like how many times do I have to cover, Ben Affleck's Batman? I don't want to keep talking about this. Why are you guys still interested in this? Like, stop it. But, but there is an enthusiasm for being able to take something and make a new joke, about it when I can.
And the comedy part in your name, CK Comedy. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, you're funny as a host and you do crack some puns and innuendos at points, but do you actually also do comedy which we haven't seen? Because I would like to see you in some comedy because I only know you for Daily Distraction. I don't know anything else.
Yeah. I did stand-up comedy. I've done stand-up comedy for about 11 years now.
What?
So I got my start. The whole reason that I got an audition with comicbook.com was because I was a stand-up comic. So my
What?
agent, so my agent was basically like, there's this company in Nashville called comicbook.com, and she knew I was a big nerd. So she was
Okay.
like, I know you've got like a huge comic book collection. So do you want to, they're having host auditions. Do you want to audition for it? And I was like, sure, let's do it. And so, and that's how I got the gig with them. And now comic book keeps me so busy doing a daily show that I don't have an opportunity to go out as much. So for the last 4 years, I've only done stand up on a part-time basis because I just don't have time to go
Yeah.
do shows. But I am starting to I haven't actually done like live stand-up comedy in over a year because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am starting to like book some shows out again, like for the later part of the year. And in 2022, I'd like to come out with like all new stuff and sort of like start performing like at like Comic Cons and stuff like that. Cause I feel like I now have this following, this small and mighty followers that kind of originate from my comicbook.com audience. So a lot of nerds know me now, and that's fun. So I would like to do stand-up comedy and kind of direct it towards that audience.
And I presume, like you said, Daily Distraction keeps you extremely busy. And so how do you like it's like a 24-hour job, right? Like you're constantly keeping track of updates, you're constantly keeping track of new shows, watching wrestling, watching movies, watching shows. How do you manage to get time out for anything else?
I don't. That's the that's the problem, man. It's hard. And especially like you said, being like essentially a one person show, it's tough. I've tried to explain to people that they're, on all the late night shows that you see with like Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel
Kimmel or
or
any of
all
them.
those guys, they always have this 5-minute monologue that they do at the show, and those shows have like 20 writers to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
every day they have like 20 writers to write these jokes for a 5-minute monologue, and I don't have that luxury. So people don't realize that coming up with a very tight, succinct 5-minute monologue daily about the news and or the news as it were in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough that's a tough gig. I mean, it's way harder than it looks, and
Right.
so that keeps me busy. I mean, to make a 5 minute show takes me about 6 hours probably. So
Wow.
yeah, it's because you got to comb through all that stuff, and you got to and I produce it too. So I pick all the little clips that are in
The
between some
the
of the
the movie
jokes.
clips and all the stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I was gonna ask you that. Is that you? Is that all you?
yeah. That's all me.
Oh, damn, that's a lot of work. That's a
Yeah,
buttload of work there.
I do have some editors that will put once I like write the script and get all these are the clips that I want to use in the show. I'll have and then I film it. I have some editors that I'll send it off to, and they'll piece it together for me. And thank God for them, because if not for them, I would never get it out daily. It would be such a grind.
Yeah, and you still shoot from home, is it?
Say that again.
You still shoot from home?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, damn. So, like,
Yeah,
do
we
you
don't
get
know
an
when.
opportunity to get out yet?
We have no idea when we're going back to the studio. So for now, my home is my studio. I have a green screen and camera and boom mic and lights and all that stuff. My whole guest bedroom is just a studio.
Damn. It's like one of my guests on the show said that it's not work from home, it's live in office now. Um,
Absolutely. And there's this weird home work balance that completely goes off the rails when you it's gone. Once you Because at least when I was at the studio before, like when I left the studio, I'm like, I'm done with work. That's done. When you can do it from home, it becomes much more muddied, because
yeah.
I'm always working now. Like just 24/7 feel like I'm working. I'm working 24/7, and I just take little hangout breaks. That's all I do.
And so, while this stuff that everybody else calls entertainment is work now for you, what is entertainment for you?
Dude, I don't know anymore. It's all work. If it entertains me, I can use it somehow for work. So and I still love it. I mean, that's not to say that I don't love it. I mean, I watched Loki this morning, right? And I love Loki. I'm having a
Hmm.
great time with Loki, but it is still, watching it to stay, up to date and up to speed with everything else going on it's part of work. So, so it is one and the same.
And I mean, people our age, I mean, I don't know how old are you, I'm assuming somewhere in your 30s. Um, yeah, right? So,
I'm 52 actually.
what?
Yeah.
You're
Nobody ever
52.
believes me. No one believes me when I tell them I'm in
Fuck
my
off.
50s.
No, you're not 52.
Always lie up. That's the secret. You always lie up. People are always like, I'm gonna stop at 25, and then I'm like, don't stop at 25. In 10 years, people are gonna think you're busted. So you always lie up. People are like, damn, he looks good for his age.
Okay, so no, I'm gonna stick to the fact that you are in your 30s or maybe early 40s max is all I'm gonna give you. But considering other people, our friends and our other friends basically, you see they have very different lives. They're in like more serious lines of work. They're more settled, if you might say so, and with more established lines of work life and all of that. Do you get any kind of internal thoughts of what are you doing with your life? Do you get judged for what you do by?
Um, Yeah, I'm used to that though. I mean, I'm totally used to that. My when I wanted to pursue stand-up comedy, I was I was actually going to school to be a teacher. I was actually I was teaching English at the college that I went to. I was working on my master's degree when I just decided I wanted to try stand-up comedy. And uh and so when I started doing it and started getting opportunities, and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do this for like a real job. I remember my baby mama was like, what are you doing? Like nobody makes money doing that. And I was like, well, I'm going to try. I don't know what to tell you. And somehow I did. I kept paying my bills. I don't even know if I'm that funny, but people kept giving me money for it. So I was like, I'll keep taking your money. And I was able to pay my bills doing stand up, and then I transitioned, over into comicbook.com like I'm doing now. And I think there was, for a long time, I think people were like, what's that guy doing? I think there was a lot of judgment from like high school friends and family and stuff like that. But then it came to a point where I'm like interviewing Jim Carrey, or they're seeing me talk to, you know what I mean? Or they're seeing me talk to like John Krasinski or whoever. And now I think there's a respect that's come along with it, where they're like, oh, he stayed the course and he made it happen. I think I've reached a point where there's a certain respect from people who didn't think that, I was going to amount to any sort of like real occupation doing something like this. But it does feel silly sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It does feel silly to be like, to be talking about Superman and Spider-Man, like in my mid 30s, but it's whatever. It's fun. It's, I love doing it. And anytime I feel like I'm not being like a super manly person, I'll just grow out my mustache and it's way better.
Like the photo I picked of you lumberjacking that grass.
Yeah, exactly. I took a day, I did some hard labor, and now I'm refreshed that I can talk about comic book heroes all week long.
And do you often, or do you ever question yourself as to where this is headed?
Yeah, I try not to think too far in the future like that. That'll just send me into an anxiety spiral. I don't like doing that. So not really. I just kind of take it day by day, and because if I get too far ahead of myself, yeah, I'll freak out. So I just try to, I just keep trying to have fun, and really I just trust that process. I mean, it's what I've done my whole adult life is just go from like, like I said, I was doing like pro wrestling, and then I decided, I'm just going to try college out. I did college, and then I tried, and then I tried stand up, and stand up worked. And then it just I feel like this just led me to different avenues, places I never expected to go, to be honest. I mean, I had no idea 10 years ago that I'd be doing any of this. Mm-hmm. So it's worked for me so far. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm just going to keep chugging along. And seeing where it takes me, man. You never know.
Yeah, I guess that kind of echoes with me, considering I live my life the same way. I really don't know where I'm headed with this, but I'm headed somewhere, and it's worked so far. So yeah.
And what does it matter, right? So far, you've been crazy successful, man.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's really all you can do, and put in the work. I mean, a lot of people ask me like what it takes to do something like I do, and I mean, and there's no sugarcoating that. It's like, it's consistency, and it's hard work. It is work, but it's fun work, but you still have to do the work.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, silly question, but who's been the favorite when you've interviewed someone? Who's been the most fun in interviews in the Hollywood side of things?
There's been a lot of fun interviews. I've enjoyed talking to like 95% of the people that I've talked to, but I mean, my favorite interview as a stand-up comic was definitely Jim Carrey. I mean, talking to Jim Carrey and making him laugh was like just a bucket list item. Like, that was crazy. Like, nobody will ever be able to tell me that I'm not funny anymore. I'll be like, I'll show them the clip of me making Jim Carrey laugh, and then I'm like, who are you, bro? I don't know.
And you're also a father, and you have, I mean, how old is your kid?
He is 14.
What?
Yeah, I know. He just turned 14. He's taller than me now. It's insane. I know, dude. It's crazy.
Wait, is he also an equal amount nerd, or is he like, I'm gonna stay away from everything?
He's a huge nerd. I think he loves what I do, because we definitely, I mean, I raised him to be into the same stuff that I'm into, so he's an incredibly smart nerd. He knows just as much, if not more, than I do about certain things. I mean, he's very obsessive about his nerdiness the way that I am. So he's good like that. And honestly, I feel like I make Daily Distraction for him. I mean, he's like my audience in the sense of like he watches
Yep.
the show every day. And so if I like do something that makes him laugh in the show, then I'm like, that's success, you know?
And when we were 14 a while back in like the late 80s and the early 90s,
Yeah, the
um,
70s, whatever.
I know you're not from the 70s, but from then to now, um, what do you think are the biggest differences in being a nerd or being perceived as a nerd? How has it changed? Like, at once upon a time, it was about being a geek, and now it's just everyday life.
Well, I mean, obviously, like the definition of a nerd has changed
Mm-hmm.
over the last like 30 years, right? I mean, in the 80s, you had Revenge of the Nerds, and they were just like they wore pocket protectors and glasses, and you know, they weren't nerds like they are now. Like nerds have evolved, but when I was 14 compared to like the difference now, I would say the biggest difference is the internet, which is made is the internet's become sort of the great equalizer, right? Where you could like nerds have found each other. I think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when I was younger, I had to find like-minded friends that were into, you know, Marvel and DC comics or pro wrestling or whatever. You know, I had those friends, but I didn't. But now you know you can become friends with anyone in the world and have those same interests. So it's not it's easier in some regards today, I think, to be a nerd than it was when, you know, you and I were younger, but or at least to have friends in that community.
So, we know you're a host, you know you're a comic, we know you tried your hands at pro wrestling, we know you've been a professor or a teacher or tried to be one. What else do we not know about you?
I got magic fingers. I went to massage therapy school too. Yeah,
And
I'm
is that
jack
where
of
the
all
list
trades.
ends?
Huh?
Is that where the list ends, or is there more?
No, 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 no. There's I don't know. There's tons of stuff. I always like to keep myself busy. I always like to learn new things. I mean, I worked at a movie theater as a projectionist while I was in college. So I did things like that, and I mean, there's all kinds of fun little
Tidbits
secrets about me, I
sprinkled
think.
around here.
Say what?
Nice. A little bit of tidbits sprinkled around here and there. If we
Yeah, yeah,
dig
yeah, yeah.
deeper, we'll find them once.
I find that I'm like fairly good at a lot of things, but I'm just
Hmm.
not great at one thing. That's
I
the
think
that's
that
my
that's
curse.
just our generation right now because we don't seem to like you get one thing that you're getting good at, but then you also get bored at it. So then you branch off to something off that
Story of my
path.
life. Yeah.
Hmm. But this has been fun. Do you have a message for anyone who's watching this across borders, your side of the border, my side of the border?
No, just I love you guys, man. That's it. That's it. Thank you for any of you who check out the show and watch it every day and comment and send me messages. I mean, I mean, it's a little it's cliche to say I couldn't do it without you, but it's true. I mean, you know, they would have fired me a long time ago if people weren't like tuning in and checking out what I was doing and appreciated it. So I mean, that's all just gratitude on my part. Just, you know, a huge thank you to everybody who checks it out and continues to do so. And I'd love to keep doing this for the next 10 years or, you know, God willing, you know, but, you know, that
Really,
audience has to be
really,
there.
10 years of daily distraction. It just sounds
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does sound like very tiring. I don't know. Maybe I
Yeah.
just need a vacation. That's,
Hmm.
I
You
know.
did take a break for a week some point in the middle, if I'm not mistaken. I remember you taking a hiatus for a while,
Yeah, it's never a while. Like when I take
like
a
a week or
hiatus,
something.
it's like 2 days tops. Like I don't remember the last time I took like a full week or anything off. Now I did take a few days off, like maybe a month ago. I had to take like 3 days in a row off because I was sick. I got sick, like
Oof.
not bad. Not it wasn't like COVID
No, but
or
because of
or
sickness,
like
you got a break, and you didn't just take a break for yourself.
yeah. The only and I usually I work sick. The only time that I take a break is like if it affects my throat and I can't talk very well. Like that's the only time that I'll like physically like take a break from the show is like if you can just tell that I'm sick. Most of the time, if I'm a little under the weather, I just do it anyway.
And before you go, one last speculation. Spider-Man No Way Home. What do you think? Are we going to see the return of Toby and Andrew?
Oh, it's a done deal, man. It's happening.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I'm positive it's happening.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward. And you've seen Quiet Place way before everyone else has. The
Yeah, I
second
did.
part. It's still not come to India. I am
It hasn't
dying
come
to
to India
watch
yet?
it.
Oh
Not even
God,
on streaming.
it's so good. It really is. It was weird to be like I watched it at the like the premiere or whatever, like back before it was originally coming out, and I talked to the cast,
Yeah.
and then everything
2020.
shut down. Everything shut down that weekend, like, and they pulled it from the theaters, and so it was really strange to be like one of 100 people who'd seen that movie, and I couldn't really talk about it, you know. Like, I'm glad it's finally come out and everybody's gotten to see how good it is. It's really good, and when you get a chance to see it, I think you'll like. If you love the first one,
I loved it.
you'll love
Yeah.
it. I think it's probably as good. I don't want to say it's better than the first one because it builds on the first one a lot, but it
hmm
is as good as the first one.
And what else have you seen that we haven't? Have you seen Black Widow? Have you seen No Time to Die? What else have you seen? Oh, God damn it.
I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I've seen some things.
Oh,
I've seen some
okay.
things, and you guys are gonna love it. I'll say that.
I said two movie names. Now I don't know which one it is.
It might be
James
more, it might
Bond.
be less.
Oh.
I can't talk. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Okay then. Thank you, CK. This has been a very, very fun chat.
Dude,
Thank you
this
for
was
joining
awesome.
in.
Yes, thank you for having me, man. You were great. I really appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing you some point when either you're here or I'm there. It should be interesting. Or
Yeah,
maybe we'll meet at a junket some point.
I want to. Yeah, absolutely. I want to come to India, like really bad. Like I would love to come.
You have a home right here. Please drop in, crash in anytime.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I will see you on the other side. Thank you, Chris.
All right,
And
thank you, buddy.
best of luck and have a good day at work. I'm just gonna go get a beer. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm gonna get started on distraction and go fill up my fourth cup of coffee.